evening, Emanuela. Good to have you.
Good evening. Thank you.
You can hear her voice. Very soft-spoken, very demure. Well, Lagos, let's get into the conversation and talk about, people always asking those random questions. What ifs? How do I do this? Is this safe for me to do? Am I in the right place? And so on and so forth. But you know what? The basic thing is, when planning a trip, especially for those who love to, solo travelers like me, myself, we're going from hotels to excursions, just randomly exploring places and new things that we haven't done before. Why is travel insurance sometimes overlooked? Is it that is it a Nigerian thing first, or is it that we don't know about it until it's too late?
Oh, well, I think, it's because travel insurance feels a bit more like an afterthought in most cases.
Okay.
It's not as fun as picking out your swimwear or, researching on the restaurant
right?
you want to go to at your destination, right? But the truth is, when planning a trip, we're more focused on the excitement.
True.
We're, excited about the good things, the excursions you want to go to, like you, the shoppings you want to do.
Oh, my days.
And then we feel that the risk that comes with traveling only maybe happens to other people.
True.
We do not believe that they can sometimes,
nothing can happen to me now.
happen to us. But unfortunately, right, when things go wrong, like a delayed flight, a missing baggage, or, an illness that gets you to the ER, you then begin to realize that you wish you had paid attention to, a travel insurance policy. It's like a safety net that you don't realize how much you need it
Until then.
You're hanging over the edge, and then it becomes too late. So I think one of the reasons people do not pay attention to it is it's an afterthought for most people. Most people only get it sometimes because of visa applications, and after the first trip, that's it.
I get you, and I know what you mean by that. We're just overlooking things like, is it not just for...
Do I need it? It's necessary.
Oh, my days. Don't worry, I'm fine. Or worst is, don't worry, when we get there, we'll sort it out.
That's that one too.
No.
Sadly.
No, you don't want to be in that space, trust me. But I know that you've heard about a lot of horror stories. You just spoke about baggage or luggage that are usually lost, or random medical emergencies that just happenstance on you. You don't even know, but it just happens.
Yeah.
Well, and that is usually like the worst case scenario. But you would think that that's worse. Imagine your flight being cancelled and you're stuck. You don't have anywhere to go. Let's even talk about the Super Eagles that had that whole mishap with You can imagine someone going through that. 13 to 18 hours just stuck in one place. Nothing. What are some of the common issues travelers actually run into with their travel insurance when these things happen?
I think the most common issues that we often see is when people do not fully understand the limits of their coverage.
Okay.
So, for example, with lost baggages, many don't realize that there's usually a cap in reimbursement. There are limits for delayed flights or a missing bag, and or certain things are not even covered, which are things that would refer to as exclusions. Medical emergencies abroad are another very big one. Some people assume that their health insurance here, or in their home country,
is applicable
when they travel abroad, but that's not the case. In almost all cases that I know of, it doesn't. And then, when you have medical emergencies and you go into the ER and you're expecting that your health insurance
would cover.
Or some people even go to the hospital with underlying illnesses such as diabetes or high blood pressure and expect to get, some sort of cover with their travel insurance in the ER. But your travel insurance would, of course, not cover underlying illnesses. It's supposed to be for, emergency occurrences. Another thing that in most cases that people do not also understand is their flight cancellations, right? While other policies will cover for some certain things, like when your flight is delayed, some people also think that when you intentionally do not go to the airport, your insurance is supposed to cover that, but it wouldn't also happen. It's only when your airline is at fault that your travel insurance then kicks in. So I think the key is understanding the specifics of what is covered and what is not covered, so they are not just caught off guard.
I'm glad that you're explaining that, and people are, well, Lagos, I trust you're listening and understanding what your travel insurance actually covers and what it doesn't cover.
Yeah.
Don't stay at home and miss your flight and think the insurance is going to cover for that. That is bad behavior. But you know what? I'm not going to scold you.
No.
You know better. I know that many people usually assume that travel insurance covers everything under the sun, but I'm glad that you've been able to debunk that. But can you tell us why it is important to read the fine print? Because when they say T's and C's apply, people don't understand. And there's that fine print. It's usually long. I don't know why we make such things so long. Just give us the highlights. Make it easier for us to understand. So we're not reading leaflets upon leaflets upon leaflets, but can you help us understand why we have to read the fine print?
Okay, so it's tempting to think that your travel insurance is a one-size-fits-all safety net, but the truth is the coverage varies widely.
Okay.
That's why there are different, packages under the travel insurance. You pick the one which best suits your budget and then suits the kind of protection that you're looking for. The fine print is where you find the important details. And important details, I mean your exclusions, which is what is not covered, your deductibles, which is what is removed, removable from your claim before a claim is paid, and as well as the claim procedures, the numbers to call, the email addresses to send an email to, and every documentation that you need to make available when making a claim. Now, for example, some policies won't cover you if you get sick from pre-existing conditions, which I already stated, pre-existing conditions, diabetes,
and so on and so forth.
Or if you cancel your trip for your own reason that is not specifically listed or a fault of your airline, that's not also covered. And all this information you find
in the fine print,
right? You also would find out that certain activities like extreme sports or adventure travels aren't covered unless you've bought a particular package or
that covers that.
You would also find out that some travel insurance packages do not cover you when you go on boat cruises or you go on cruises like the Caribbean cruise and the likes. Some travel insurance will not cover you when you're on such kind of vacation. So some people would assume that they are covered under such, right?
Okay.
It's really about, setting realistic expectations and knowing that what you're actually buying, right? Taking the time to read through the fine print gives you the peace of mind and can save you a lot of frustrations at the end, really.
Trust me, we don't want to be frustrated. The holidays are around the corner. I just want to travel and come back and enjoy, seeing my family once again without all the hassle. So, hey, if you're looking forward to doing that, please read the fine print, so we don't get into trouble. So talking about
ask questions,
really. It's important to ask questions. But I want to talk about you spoke about sometimes people not having their claims, having it denied is what I'm talking about. Let's talk about that. Why would I not have my claims, being paid, or, why am I being denied?
No, nobody likes, their claims being denied. And I can speak for AXA. We don't like denying claims unless we have grounds to.
Okay.
But it can happen, and it does happen. And usually it's because, travelers didn't meet the policy requirements or didn't follow proper process or do not have, necessary documentations to back up the claim. For example, if you miss a flight because you didn't arrive at the airport in time, or if you are traveling somewhere risky without declaring, for example, you take a flight today and you say you're going to, say, Lebanon, where there is a war now, and you do not declare that, or you will not be covered, right? Similarly, not keeping receipts, not contacting your insurance company in a timely manner, or failing to provide the right kind of documentation can lead to a denial. One of the biggest reasons for rejection, though, is not, is not understanding the exclusions in your policy. Like I said, some people, they do things that are in exclusions, and then they bring the claim and expect you to
come through and just pay the claim.
But in most cases, those kind of claims would definitely be denied. It's always a good idea to keep good records and notify the insurance providers about issues as soon as they happen, as soon as possible. Just
There's this one that is bugging me right now. And it has to do with your either lost baggages or even worse, your damaged baggage. Imagine arriving your destination and then all of a sudden you're looking for your clothes.
Yeah.
Goodness. If you've ever been in that situation, my heart's out to you, and I don't know how you were able to manage, but it is. I don't know if I would say it's the worst experience that ever happened to anyone.
My biggest fear.
Yes.
My biggest fear.
Sometimes people intentionally travel light just because they don't want to have to go through that. But what should one know, and how can one actually, have their claims covered on this if they've lost their baggage? Or what do they need to know?
Okay, great question. So documentation is absolutely key to making sure that your claim gets processed quickly and efficiently, right? First, like I said before, always keep your travel receipts. This includes your flight tickets, your hotel bills, your excursion tickets, and any medical bill you may have incurred. Now, for things like your lost baggage, make sure you have a record of, your luggage claim from the airline, because the first thing to do when your bag is missing is to report to the airline, and you're supposed to fill a certain form. So make sure you have that form, available from the airline, and any receipt of any item you had to purchase while you were waiting for that bag. If you're claiming for a medical emergency, you will need, of course, a doctor's note or hospital records to back up your claim. And another thing you do not want to forget is your policy number, your travel insurance policy number. You need to have that handy. So it's really just helpful to have them digitally placed, maybe somewhere on your phone, and just have everything put in one place so that you're not scrambling around to find everything when the situation arises for them.
So if you're traveling and you have your documents with you, what you can do is just take a picture of everything. So and save it somewhere where you can even tag it travels.
Yeah. Or just send them to yourself on WhatsApp.
Right?
Yeah.
That way you know that you can actually access it at any point in time. I was going to say even if your phone is missing, but you know what? Let's not even get into that one. That can actually even make your heart.
I think people keep their phones more than their bags, but what do I know?
Because it's like it's an appendage to us right now.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing, we're taking pictures and so on and so forth. So I understand what you mean. But it's easy to assume that you have your travel insurance and then something happens. But how does emergency assistance actually work, and what should people actually expect?
Okay, so with emergency, assistance, traveling abroad without adequate medical coverage is risky, which is why you need a travel insurance, especially because your health insurance in your place of residence or your country of residence doesn't cover you when you're outside of the country, right? That's where, your travel insurance becomes your lifesaver. Well, however, there are a few things to watch out for. Yes. Okay. First, you need to make sure that your policy includes, some sort of medical assistance.
Okay.
E.g., we're talking of medical evacuation if you need to be evacuated from the country that you are.
Right.
Or you need to be flown back home for certain type of treatment.
Right.
Second, you need to check that your policy covers those the kind of emergency condition that you are in. Some won't, unless you sometimes purchase additional coverage, which is why I said there are different packages. So you need to carefully go through the packages and pick the one which suits, the kind of cover you're looking for.
Right.
It's also important to understand that whether the policy covers things like hospital, whether they cover your hospital stay, which is admission out or outpatient treatment, or even emergency dental care in case while cracking a bone, you break a tooth. This can vary widely between plans, right? The last thing you want to do is get stuck in a foreign country without the ability to get medical care or even pay for it. So, that little investment in a good policy can make all the difference.
All right. Just a quick one, because we're out of time already.
Yeah.
Is processing travel insurance fast or very tedious?
I think is one of the easiest things you would do. Yeah, accessing travel insurance is now easier than ever thanks to technology, to digital platforms.
Awesome.
You can typically purchase it online through travel insurance providers. For AXA, you can go to www.axamansard.com. click on the travel insurance policy, you get a quotation, you pick the country of destination, you pick the package you're looking for, you make payment, you submit documents that are necessary, and within minutes, you get your certificate as well as your policy document in your email address, and cover starts immediately from the start dates that you've provided that you want to be out of the country. Everyone has, most companies have 24/7 hotlines, so you can get help no matter the time zone, or it's definitely one of those things that is the simplest thing to get.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'm sure Lagos has learned a thing or two. So if you're looking at getting insurance for travels, you know what to do. You don't want to sleep on this one. And what you can do is reach out to AXA Mansard on their website. That is www.axamansard.com, or you can call toll-free 0700 AXA Mansard. Social media handles are also available for you to reach out and ask your questions or follow them. Just go through and you will definitely be answered, or all your questions will be addressed. On Facebook, X, or Twitter, and on LinkedIn, it is AXA Mansard. However, on Instagram, it is at AXA Mansard _. And Lagos, that's how we draw a curtain on AXA Mansard for the week. Well, for today and for the week, yes. It comes your way Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Every weekday, 6:10 is the time. So, Lagos, have a beautiful weekend and stay safe.
AXA Mansard Safe Cruise. Brought to you by AXA Mansard Insurance PLC. AXA, know you can.